Hey boys and girls of the YouTube world, today Duff Dog and I are going to see if we can't get the 71 Lincoln Mark III up and running for the first time in 5 months. No, that's not true. I don't have a Duff Dog. I don't even have a Theo dog. But I do have a 71 Lincoln Mark III, and well, I already know it runs. I fired it up the other day. But hey, I'll at least bring everybody up to date, let you see where it goes, and we'll fire it up. Alright, 71 Lincoln. Let's zoom this out a little bit. Continental Mark III. Bought this back in October, kind of a birthday gift to myself. It was cheap enough. Smoked like a choo-choo train. Did a compression test on the engine. It's all back together. Did a compression test on the engine. Had cylinder 5. Had really low compression. 50 psi. 6 and 7 or 200. Actually, I think they were 210. They were up there. And 8 had, very last cylinder had 0. Pulled valve covers. 6 turned out to be a bent push rod. Put a push rod in from the spare motor. Checked it. Compression was at 195-ish, 200 ballpark with everybody else. So everything here was 190 to 210. Number 8, missing the push rod altogether. Put a longer push rod in, or got a push rod from the spare engine, put it in there, and it was way too short. I needed something longer, which is interesting enough. Led me to believe maybe I had a wiped out cam. Went and grabbed an even longer push rod from like a 306, threw that in there, got me the length I needed. Just couldn't run it down all the way but at least allowed me to run it and crank it and get compression. So I got compression. The lifter moved up and down, and the valve opened and closed. Led me to believe maybe the cam wasn't wiped out, and got me compression on there. So I knew the cylinder itself wasn't bad. It's just in the valve train. So that required me pulling the valve or the intake manifolds. Pulled the intake manifold, found my missing push rod in the lifter valley in between the two heads. It was S-shaped. And then I found the guts of the lifter up in the oil valley as well. I was missing a few pieces of it, which I'm pretty sure were probably in the oil pan. Pulled the lifter from the spare motor, threw a used lifter in there, put the correct push rod in there, did a compression test, and number 8 came up to 190, 195-ish like everybody else. And then I could have probably just put it back together, but since my problem was smoking and I had 2 dead cylinders, I figured valve stem seals, and the car came with a head gasket set and along with the Edelbrock Performer intake manifold. So I went ahead and pulled cylinder heads, did valve stem seals, hand lapped the valves, new seals, new head gaskets, put it back together, and well, here we are. It's not 100% complete. I still got to hook up the transmission kickdown rod. It is too short, so I either need to buy the little extension piece, which is ungodly expensive, or I'm thinking I'm just going to cut and weld in a piece of threaded rod and see if I can find a way to make it somewhat slightly adjustable. And then I have the cruise control stuff I still need to hook up and put the clips on. I wish I was filming when I tried to fire this up, and the wife was out here helping me. So a smart person, not being me, would have dropped the distributor in at top dead center while he had the timing chain or the timing cover off and was lining up the timing chain marks. But no, I decided not to do that. I got the timing chain on there, rotated it a couple times, made sure the timing marks lined back up, went ahead and put it all back together, did a compression test to see if the numbers improved with a timing chain without slack in it, lined up the harmonic balancer to top dead center, and I had a 50-50 chance of stabbing it in, getting it right. Stabbed in the distributor, wired up all the wires, got it all ready, drained all the old fuel out of the fuel tank, about 13 gallons of questionable fuel. It burned, the car ran on it. Went and got 5 gallons of 93 no E, or 91, get her done, no E. Threw 4.5 gallons in there, and then put the half a gallon in a small fuel can and took the electrical fuel pump that was over here, and with a mile hose, took that off, ran the mechanical into a water bottle, and used the electric fuel pump and the hoses that I had into a gas jug, fill the carburetor, and get the engine to run off of the gas can. Well, cranking and everything, got fuel up to here. Once I got fuel from the mechanical fuel pump, I went ahead and connected this fuel line, and we're now running on the mechanical fuel pump. But during the cranking, after getting everything ready to run, it was backfiring. But it was backfiring to the carb. And I was just thinking, okay, lean, no choke. The choke I have basically wired open. I haven't figured out where to plug in the 12-volt source for it yet. And the coil doesn't currently get to full 12 volts. So lean condition will cause backfiring to the carb. Played with timing. Well, I went too far and kaboom! Extremely loud. And what was left of my exhaust is now even less than it was before I started. The resignators behind the rear wheels were already Bluetooth anyways, but now the mufflers that are under the car are tacoed and look like dented sardine cans. Yay. Well, easy enough fix. Pull the distributor, rotate 180 degrees, drop it. Well, actually, I brought it to top dead center first, pulled the cap. Yep, pointing at number 4, or I believe it was number 4, which is the very front spark plug wire. Pulled the distributor out, rotated the rotor 180 degrees till it points to number 1, stuck it back in, fired up. It sounded like dookie because the timing was way whack. Brought the timing to 10 degrees before top dead center, which is what spec calls for. Sounded better. Not perfect, but sounded better. Got it running. Hooked up a vacuum gauge, had about 19-20 inches of vacuum, so I played with timing till I got max vacuum. This thing loves to run like at 30 degrees before top dead center, but that's just crazy amount of vacuum, or not a vacuum, but a timing for a 460 that's supposed to be high compression in the 10.5:1 compression ratio. At 30 degrees top dead center, do a wide open throttle, it would backfire down in the collector area down here. But it sounded great. All the weird noises and whatnot cleared up. So as a compromise, I backed it off down to about 15, because that was about 2-3 degrees more than where it started to sound not so great. And then I played with idle mixture screws and got the engine vacuum up to like 22 inches of vacuum with a nice steady needle. So that's where I'm at there. It now runs. It smokes a little bit, but not like it did. Sorry, trying to figure out where the rust came from. On the top of the fender, it's just powder, dirt. Looks like rust. I actually, priorities. AM radio works, and there's actually a classic rock station. I made that work. Window switch problems, Lincoln problems. So, and we got engine oil over here, fuel gauge over here. I see the fuel gauge is below E, so maybe the gauge does work. I think reads empty, but that's reading below empty. I'll have to watch that in a minute. The fuel gauge light, low fuel light, comes on during cranking. Alternator's doing forward alternator things, reads 50 and right in the middle all the time, battery connected, not connected. I'm going to guess the gauge doesn't work, but what's really weird is almost every single forward alt gauge that I have, other than the voltmeters or the ammeters that I have in the 66 F100, all do this. I never see them go this way. I never see them go this way. They always just dead center in the middle. I do know the alternator charges. It was putting out 14 volts. Temperature works. Clock in the middle, pretty sure that doesn't work. I'm not sure what it takes to get it to work. That'll be later down the road problems. Future Nathan problems. Oh yeah. So in the glove box is the fuse panel. I went around and played with the fuses, checked fuses, and replaced a few fuses. And the one thing I fixed, yay. Yeah, the one thing I really didn't want to work works. But hey, with that fuse in, 2 of these lights work. The seatbelt light works, comes on, turns off. I haven't got the door jar one to work yet. Headlamps will work, and I haven't got the trunk one to work yet. 2, 3. We'll try 5 pumps today. Okay, I did not warm this one up. You can see the SureTrack light is on, which the SureTrack is part of the brake system. It's got another weird vacuum booster down on the passenger side firewall. I did not warm this one up today. It was 58 degrees or supposedly somewhere around there right now. It's not ice cold out. I did have it running yesterday. I tried to attempt to film this video yesterday. I didn't like how the video turned out. It's a little cold-blooded. I'm sure you all want to hear the buzzer. I did discover that the power window motor does work. I was playing with switches yesterday, hooked up the relay that's kind of goofy, it's missing the cover, hooked it up underneath the hood is where it belongs, and just to see if it worked, and hit the power window down, went down, and then it was a matter of playing with wiring, trying to figure out how to get it to go back up. Oil pressure's nice and good when it's cold. Fuel gauge did move, so maybe it does work. I discovered that this switch here is for the antenna. The switch over here that's missing must be for the light. Radio works. 8-track does not, at least not yet. I'll get it to figure that out sooner or later. Roof-mounted headlight light comes on, and the lights are on. The headlight doors work. They hold vacuum for about an hour or two, and then they bleed off vacuum and they'll spring back open. Lincoln problems. The SureTrack light will actually turn off if we drive the car. And the idle seems to be a little on the low side today. None of the heater stuff seems to work. I don't even see a needle for the temp. The needle moves for de-ice, defog, off, low, high. And it's basically an automatic temperature control. Ta-doo! And supposedly it's all sorts of fun from what I've been hearing. But it is supposedly you just kind of, okay, set it to 85. And there's this temperature sensor in here somewhere. And it'll either turn the heat on or turn the AC on depending on where you set the temperature, which unfortunately I don't see a needle anywhere. I don't know if it's a light that lights up. That'd be kind of cool. But seeing how that's a needle, I'm going to guess there's a needle that's here that's missing. And, well, there's no blower motor. Dash lights on here on the dash lights are suspect. They work. At least they did. The cruise control switch is right here. I haven't figured out how to... I need to figure out how to fix it. But it will turn on the little red light. So I think there's springs or something. I need to get that fixed. This is the button to turn it on, turn it off, or set the speed. Wipers work. They're hydraulic. Work off the power steering. Door locks, don't know, as I don't have the switches. They're vacuum operated. Mirrors cable. Boop boop, doing mirror things. It seems like it's upside down and backwards to me, but that's alright. Power seats, no idea if those work. So this the driver switch that's in this panel is like in pieces. I got a half of it's with the switches, and then the guts of it are in a Ziploc baggie. That one switch still is all together for that side, but it's, I don't know, window is held up by blocks of wood. Window regulators in the garage. I ordered window lift motors. They should be here Wednesday. Well, one email says Wednesday, the other email says Thursday. And if you look, it's still smoking somewhat, but nowhere near as bad as it used to be. And it smells like oil. One backup light works. I got replacement lenses. Oh, the rain's coming. Yay. This one's cracked. It's missing the chrome, but I have a new one. Well, they're not new. They're new to me. Power steering fluid is still nice and full. Sounds like I have some exhaust leaks. My Carter mechanical fuel pump sounds like crap. That's the tick 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 tick. You got the exhaust over here, but the more of the knock 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 knock. That's actually the fuel pump. The only place you feel the vibration is actually in the fuel line, the steel fuel line coming from the mechanical pump up to the carburetor, or yeah, up to the carburetor. If I had to guess, my exhaust manifold is gasket's a little off, and I'm guessing the collector's probably no bueno either. Vacuum doors, the doors did shut. More shake to it today than it normally does. But there you have it. I take you on a drive, but it's starting to sprinkle, and I need to put more fuel in it. Fuel pump sounds like crap. Alright, well, there you have it. 171 Lincoln back and running, up and running. You'll see the smoke cleared up. So it smokes for a little bit. This muffler down here on this side is coated with oil, so I have a sneaky suspicion that it's condensation mixes with the old oil in there, and then it gets warm and burns off. At least that's my hope. but it's definitely not fumigating my yard like it used to. It was horrible. It's like a James Bond movie, 007 smokescreen car. And there you have it. Thanks for watching.